Is that I do stick out like a sore thumb. I'm a lot nicer and a lot more courteous in real life than any of you have any clue about. I do stick out like a sore thumb. I'm different and I'm weird, but I let people know. Beard's are itchy. The picture on the front of this, that's alright, so a while ago, as in years and years and years ago, I started something called Swords to Plowshares. I started trying to figure out, civilian uses for a lot of this military technology, and I was inspired by a Firewatch Cobra. That don't make sense to any of y'all, I guess. Or may not. To most people it doesn't. It just sounds like crazy talk. Firewatch, that's the U.S. Forestry Service, their flying corps. They specifically go up with infrared and heat suppression units and heat seeking units that'll basically let you know if there's a hot spot before your firemen get in there and accidentally rekindle something they shouldn't have, or go into an area where maybe the area around you seems like it's all burnt up and it's done with, but you walk into a hot spot and you get a bunch of steam that comes up in your face, and that's all she wrote. The Firewatch Cobra, the AH-1G Cobra, is a Vietnam era helicopter. It was based off of the UH-1, which was an ambulance helicopter, but it was designed as an attack helicopter. It's pretty darn fast. And instead of having a chin turret, the chin turret doesn't mean that somebody's got a turret on their chin. It's a chin turret. It's underneath the nose of the ship, or the nose of the helicopter. It's also known as a gunship, just so you know. Now, the turret that's underneath it is just like the ball turret on, a World War II airplane, except it doesn't have a person in there. It's controlled by the pilot inside of the airplane via joystick, or the gunner, because they have interchangeable positions, close to interchangeable positions. The gunner has to be able to pilot the aircraft as well. But the actual pilot seat, it only has usable nose or chin turret if the chin turret is pointed forward. If it's not pointed forward, it doesn't work. Not on the originals, anyway. When they retired those and decided they were going to extend the contract, but only to a two-engine version for survivability options. If you lose your engine, you don't crash into the jungles like we had happen a whole lot in Vietnam. If you got two engines, they can shoot one of your engines out, and you can still utilize it. You can still make it home. Lesson learned, right? All right, so here's the thing about the different Starbucks that I was at. Everywhere that I went, Starbucks safe place policy kept me safe. But I had to be afraid of what would happen the moment I stepped out of the Starbucks. There was a lady named Gracie at the Starbucks in Cheyenne. I was at 3 different Starbucks there in Cheyenne. And there was a woman there named Priscilla, and she was from South America, and she's also a Jehovah's Witness, and she was real useful and real helpful there, and I believe that she would be honest. There's a young woman named Maggie who worked there, and Maggie said she was 20 or 21, I don't know. She was in college, and one of her coworkers told me that she wasn't as old as she said she was, and that she wasn't in college. And maybe that was to try to protect her, or maybe Maggie did lie to me. I don't know. But, like I said, when people wrote notes instead of going in with me, the police said, well, how do we know that you didn't write that? That was always their excuse. Not to look at anything, not to investigate anything, not to even try calling these people. There's also all the folks at the two Starbucks that I was at in Virginia. Now, obviously, with it being years ago, I can't go back and get those people and get their eyewitness accounts. After me being all over the news, they probably got a lot of hatred for me, and you never know how it'll turn out. They might think, oh, well, there's this guy that was creepy that had a beard a few years ago. I'll just assign everything that he did to that Sean feller because I can't remember him. No, you'd remember me. You'd remember me as being real super nice. Also, the folks at that Starbucks in Virginia, the one that Natalie and Alicia asked me to go to, those folks would definitely remember me. The folks at the Starbucks on Pearl Street in Boulder, Colorado, those people would definitely remember me. But also you get to see how there's a lot of folks who, despite the fact that they knew me, they actually knew me well. Afterwards, they didn't treat me that way. A lot of people assumed that because I was intelligent, they couldn't treat me like a schizophrenic. I'm like, who's going to stop them? That's why you're supposed to have family or friends. So they can't just pretend like you're schizophrenic and not do their jobs. That and often does result in death. There's a lot of folks. Neil DiMaccio, he was an employee at Starbucks. And he was going to help me after Natalie was killed. He was able to borrow his roommate's vehicle and come and see me. And although he didn't have a charge on his phone and didn't have a charger, and that basically made it so we had to do everything on my phone instead of being able to help me at the beginning of it. We had to go to a store and buy some chargers and plug that in. He did write down a little bit of stuff and look at some of the stuff. I tried explaining to him because he didn't have much time either. And he was one of those folks that he didn't have much time. So us eating it up by having to go get chargers so that he could have a charge on his electronics. I needed him to listen to the slander and, well, listen to the reports and then look at the evidence that shows it's slander. After doing all that running around, there wasn't very much time. There was a lady named Haley Smith, and she was gonna try to hook me up with some other folks who worked at the Starbucks on Pearl. Like I said, for years and years, I kept those people safe. I walked them out to the garbage to keep them safe. When there was an issue with a homeless person, I would do my best to try to get it quashed quick, fast, and in a hurry. I got assaulted more than once because I took somebody at Starbucks aside instead of a homeless person. There were also situations where I did take a homeless person's side. Gotta find something to use the bathroom in. Anyway, there's a lot of places that I've been. Virginia, Washington State, up there in Tacoma, I got a few of those Starbucks employees recorded. I got a few of the ones from the first and second Starbucks there in Cheyenne. That's the one that Priscilla worked at and the one that Maggie worked at. Maggie actually was looking up Natalie Bollinger's name, actually saw some of the stuff, and she was explaining about the situation with me there and how she had written a note and, how horrible it was that I was treated. And, of course, with the guy who was the interim manager, Gracie was cool. But the interim manager was a dick. He was pretty insistent that the safe place policy was only for homosexuals, and he obviously didn't like homeless people. He wasn't very nice, and he pulled some real shady shit, and I'm sure everybody knows somebody who's like that. For him, these homeless people have safe places that they can go, like jail. Safe places that they can go, like a homeless shelter. Like, those places are not safe. They're not safe. If we get victimized at a homeless shelter, they go, oh, well, that's homeless on homeless crime. We don't need to worry about that. We'll just ignore it, or we'll arrest them both. When the staff steal from us, they know that nobody's going to fucking care. They see people victimizing us every day who are other homeless people. And they don't care. The staff don't fucking care if you're victimized by another homeless person. So why the fuck would they care if their coworkers steal your shit? There's a lot of people at Starbucks that are real nice, and they did kind of sort of try to offer moral support. But the thing is, they were witnesses to situations where I was abused because of people's assumptions. There's a young woman named Devin Cockerill. Now, after years and years and years at that Starbucks on Pearl Street, and I was good to everybody, and I did my best to maintain and keep the peace, even at my own peril. But when Natalie disappeared, people forgot who I was. They forgot who it was that I had been to them for all those years. Next thing you know, it's a popular thing to hate me. And with everybody else hating me, it's fine for them to hate me. They're, of course, expected to hate me as much as everybody else. They're expected to believe this shit the same as everyone else. Like, holy shit, you know me in person. What the fuck is wrong with you? That's what I get for being good to people. I get told that a lot. That's what you get for being good to people, Sean. Randy Ingersoll said, you gotta stop helping people. It fucks you every time. The funny thing about that is that she was needing my help at the time, and I did show up, and yeah, I truly got fucked. On the bright side, you know what? I am the hero that I needed as a kid. As a kid, nobody tried to help. Nobody tried to listen. Anybody could abuse me, and I just had to take it. That's the problem with being in a subservient position. You don't have any rights. You're not a person. Anybody can do whatever they want to you. And if they can call you mentally ill, well, hell, they can rape you like a $2 whore, and nobody's going to give a shit. It don't matter if you're a boy. See, here's the problem with men. We're treated like our trauma doesn't exist. We should not show any signs of trauma. If we do, we're bad people. If we do, it means we're horrible people who can't control our temper. No. There is only so much abuse you can expect someone to take. You shouldn't be expecting anyone to take any abuse. You shouldn't expect anyone to just lay down and fucking take it. Which is what you are saying very loud and clear. What it is that you actually mean when you tell people to let it go. When your problems are always way too important to worry about anybody but yourself. But you can tell this person who's coming to you for help all of your fucking problems. You are giving them all of your excuses why you can't help them before you have heard a word that comes out of their face. And then you want to shit on them by stuffing a bunch of advice in their face. You're literally not listening. You're literally doing the same exact thing that everyone else does. Making me do it by myself. Trying to pawn me off on someone else. That's everyone's go-to. It's always someone else's responsibility. The government programs that are supposed to be for people who don't have families to help. Those government programs don't help unless you have a fucking family that gives a shit. That's why these programs are full of people who are middle class and upper middle class, a bunch of fucking wine titties who are too goddamn lazy to get a fucking job. And we got a lot of those son of a bitches on disability. They got their disability because mommy and daddy said, holy fuck, he's a lazy 36-year-old. He won't get a fucking job. He hasn't stopped fucking eating Funyuns. He's fucking 300 goddamn pounds. Yeah, now he's really disabled. He's fucking morbidly obese. He fucking stinks to high heaven. You thought when he was turning 18, you'd be able to kick him out and get a job and get married? But no, you got it real nice. You got it real lax. You got it so you can afford to take care of yourselves and your son. He didn't develop a work ethic. Now he's on his fucking computer being a jackass to me. Cute. It's a beautiful world we live in. Now, when it comes to Swords to Plowshares, the picture on the front of here, of course, it's a submarine, and those two divots where it has in the side there, those actually originally had torpedoes in them. But it's kind of painted up like a 57 Chevy, ain't it? It kind of is. Like an old-ass Corvette. As far as what this video is about, I don't remember what it was supposed to be about. I'm pretty sure I went off on a tangent about the front picture and the Firewatch and what a Cobra is. The Cobra is the designation for a specific helicopter. It's like the Apache, the Iroquois, pretty much all the military helicopters are named after a Native American tribe. But the Cobra, it was our first attack helicopter, and it's not. It's hard to explain to you how telling me about all of your problems isn't help, or typing at me and texting at me a conversation takes 6 months, but you couldn't call in that whole 6 months. This is very frustrating for me. I am separated from my loved ones. I don't get to see them. My friends don't even want to take a look. That's the problem with this slander. None of them bother to take a look at what I'm going through, or why. What I need is people to look at it and actually speak up. Is it wrong? Then stop telling me that it's wrong and tell everybody else it's wrong and why. Don't fucking teabag me. Don't tell me something that you're not willing to say in court. Don't tell me anything you're not willing to tell the police. Because I will damn sure try to get it to the police. And if that doesn't work, I will take it to the media. For a lot of you, no matter how much I explain that these are my loved ones who are fucking dead. My loved ones. These aren't just random people on the fucking news to me. It's not a random story on 60 Minutes. It's my home. Boulder, Colorado. That's my home. That's the only place that has ever been home to me. Zayd Atkinson was on 60 Minutes after being treated, well, a lot nicer than I got treated, wasn't he? But then again, you make excuses for him. With me, you make excuses for the cops. You pretend I don't exist. You pretend that I deserved it. You pretend that I deserved these predatory actions, but somehow Sammy Leon Lawrence IV, well, he's a victim. But then again, what was he doing? He was filming police victimizing homeless people. And they thought he was homeless, and they victimized the shit out of him. But he's in a house, so he's a person. You actually care, and he got $95,000 for it. I've spent more than $95,000 over the abuse by Waylon Lolatai in specific. The officer, by name, the exact same officer, assaulted me in January of 2018, well before he ever assaulted Sammy Leon Lawrence IV. Then, of course, Sammy Leon Lawrence IV wants to, oh, I'm here on the front lines. You a bitch, motherfucker. Front lines? You a fucking housey, motherfucker. They confused you for a homeless person, and you got fucked up. But unlike a homeless person, you got fucking paid. Just like Zayd, yo friend. Like I said, the victims got to work together. At least they work together. At least Zayd and Sammy work together. There's plenty of other victims that wanted to speak about their shit, but they wouldn't speak about mine for goddamn sure. They would share Sammy Leon Lawrence IV's. They would share Zayd Atkinson's. They would share all of these things. Many of these people don't even know these people. Never had a conversation with them, never met with them, never conversed with them, nothing. They have no clue who these people are. But they know me in person. They just didn't give a shit. I wasn't worth listening to. So they don't make the connection between, all right, Sean is trying to get help because he was fucking assaulted by a cop. Oh, there's a cop. He's assaulted quite a few people in Boulder, fucking Colorado. Sean is sharing this stuff with these other people and saying, hey, this happened to me too. Same exact fucking cop. Oh yeah, they didn't look at that. They didn't get that far. They were too busy telling me they were too busy. Too busy to care. Them being too busy to care does not mean that the crimes against me were not committed. Just because people were too busy to care, often with the most trivial goddamn shit on the planet. Nothing these people are telling me that they couldn't help me because of. None of those things are things that I get to use for excuses, are they? I'm going through hell, and I'm having people threaten me. Let's go back to before Natalie died. Having people threaten my life and threaten my friends and family's lives. Actually threaten. Not this pretendy shit that Natalie was pulling. Where are the fucking threats? You guys ask for evidence, I produce evidence. I ask for evidence, you throw me shit. So I'm living in this environment. I'm spending a lot of money that I don't fucking have to run around the country trying to find a safe place where I'm not going to be fucking victimized. That's what homelessness is. It's victimization. Every time you make it more illegal to victimize a person of color, it's already illegal. Homeless people and disabled people got to go to the goddamn back of the bus. We gotta go to the back of the bus, even though we are number one on all the fucking lists, including being murdered by the fucking cops, including being victimized at hospitals, including being victimized by our friends and family. We're number one, number one, number one. Because you don't fucking listen. That's why these professionals are supposed to do something about it, but they're not going to do anything about it unless you do something about it. If you don't fucking care, neither do they. Do you know why? Because if nobody fucking cares about them, you can do whatever you want to them. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if you put a fucking bullet in my head.